Next assignment is on checking the validity of email. So we have to write the user defined exception, invalid email exception, extends exception. As we are going to read the value, we have to import the package IO to use the buffered reader class and so on. Now here again the string message is there, which is going to store the actual message related to the exception. In for this user defined exception class invalid email exception, we have written two constructor, one default constructor and another is a parameterized constructor, and the value that we pass to the parameterized constructor is given to the super class, that is exception class. Now as we have to test for the email, one of the data member of another class has to be email ID. The next one you can give anything, so one member is taken as name, second member is taken as email in this email exception class. So for this email exception class, default constructor is written with the empty definition and parameterized constructor take two arguments, one is the name and second is the email ID. There is a possibility of exception in this constructor, and hence we write invalid email exception, throws invalid email exception. Again we have to check with the help of if condition. Now in case of email, we have checked for the domain IDs, whether it is .com, .org or .co.in or .in. If it is other than these four, we have taken in if condition, we say that it is the invalid email ID. Otherwise, if it is any one of these four, we directly assign it as a valid email ID to the data member, and name we don't have to check, we can directly assign. Now this is regarding the exception. As we want to display the object, so we have to override the toString method and we concatenate the name and email values. Now in main, write down a try block where we will read the value using buffered reader and we will create the constructor. So create object of buffered reader, then display the message that enter value for name and email ID. Now first read the value for name using br.readLine, which returns a string, and also read the email ID, that is also a string value. Now after getting two values, create object of email exception u and call the constructors n.email, a constructor with the two parameters n and email. Okay, now if there is an exception, that exception is handled with the help of catch. If there is exception related to buffer reader, it is handled with the help of IO exception. Okay, and if there is no exception, the object value is printed here. Now let us test this. Email exception, it is asking for name and email ID. So email ID, okay, as the email ID is valid, it has displayed both email ID as well as name using the statement system.out.println. If now there is an error, let us enter some invalid name, invalid exception @gmail dot, now I'll write ABC. So exception is generated, invalid name exception, because .abc is not written in this if condition. We have taken for com, org, co.in and in.